you remember the first time we met?
It was about 15 years ago or something like that.
Years.
Yeah, time flies, bear.
Yeah.
And we're still beautiful. No, but I think it's just so great. We are actually being involved and walking side by side in the birth of this new technology almost.
It's amazing.
I
Fast.
think that's great.
And then at the same time, working with technologies like cloud and fantastic technologies you have on the Flex Factory side, where we meet customer on a regular basis and really seeing that they scream for help to be able to really treat patients.
We started, at the time when the CAR T cells were starting to become going through that sort of transition, and there was the initial licensing of what is now Kymriah product from UPenn by Novartis. There was this transition then to not only that we can do the science, but how do we now turn this into a viable therapy for commercial therapy? How can we manufacture these at scale globally?
I mean, that goes back to Elevate's mission, right? Of enabling the cell and gene therapy as an industry, and how can we partner with other folks in the industry to really bring that forward and get to that future vision.
The industry has a number of challenges, and like all new technologies, initially it's one of scale. How do you take it from and increase the capacity to treat a few patients to treat thousands or hundreds of thousands?
I think as we talk about expansion, right, it's really being able to, replicate this, elsewhere.
So we were able to really bring it all together quite quickly, and it's just amazing that we were able to build this building, build it out, utilizing the Flex Factory that we get with Cytiva.
So the Flex Factory is consisting of different things. Part of it is the flexible manufacturing equipment. And that's the beauty with having modular facilities, because you can just essentially open up a wall and click on your next facility or your next manufacturing line. And then you have the data. What are you going to do with the data?
Not only do you have to provide the therapies themselves, but our customers have to provide a huge amount of documentation and paperwork.
And we're talking around 200 to 300 pages of paper if you're doing this on paper records.
So connecting the equipment, getting the data in one place is really key for the future.
I sometimes say that I think you're going to need to build out your warehouse of paper much faster than your production, really, because it's going to take a lot of space. And on top of the actual papers themselves, you have the retention period, which in some countries are up to 15 years.
There's no way you can go with pen and paper and having these long lead times or long times before you can release a batch and so on, because you have a patient sitting there waiting, and now we got used to that you can do things much faster than you have ever done before. So why would we go back?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that is something we really need to address to make CAR Ts available for more patients around the world. The way we are addressing that within Cytiva is that we have developed the Chronicle software, which sits as a layer on top of the hardware. We need to move to electronic records and digital solutions, where the Chronicle software is definitely one of them, being that solution that will help this industry to pass that challenge.
I mean, I think one of the biggest challenges is that, the field exploded so fast that, again, we don't have the number of folks to fill all the positions that are available there. And so it really does have to focus on how do you train the next generation of scientists in the field.
Yeah, right now there is actually a lack of qualified workforce in the industry. We have an organization called Fast Track, where we do provide training on specific topics or specific technologies where we can teach, and actually we can also design customer-specific training.
Cytiva enables us to bring in talent that doesn't have as much experience because we have a robust training program to enable them to learn really quickly and be able to jump in and contribute.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a continuous education, right? Because the field is not fixed, right? It's not locked. It's continuously evolving with new types of technologies that allow for faster, cheaper, better.
One of the big challenges is the amount of attention that you have to pay when you're manufacturing these products.
Today, almost 50% of the cost of producing a CAR T is actually labor. Meaning there's a human being doing something as part of the workflow. That needs to change.
So being able to remove any part of that, whether it's with digital batch records or getting automated readouts on bioreactors, and being able to utilize software so that you can monitor these cell therapies.
And to make it more intuitive, like Chronicle, so it's not a challenge, because a lot of the early systems, we've really done a lot of work to get them in, but something like a Chronicle that's much easier to get someone on board with, much easier to transfer an SOP, that type of technology.
And really enabling the possibilities of using the electronic standard operating procedures to help the human being through the process, to guide them through the process.
It will be, has to be supported by digital solutions and connectivity, because otherwise you're not going to manage in this world.
Going back to that sort of visionary piece at the beginning, it's incredibly important that we're also we have a responsibility as Cytiva to make these things commercially viable. So try and utilize better footprint of manufacturing facilities, get out of expensive clean rooms, de-skill and make this easier for people to utilize and more robust.
So there's a lot of collaboration right now we have with Cytiva and others to basically tailor, the technologies to these new products. So
I think that that's one of the fun things about it, is that you get to actually work closely with them. They really want to solve your problems. Partnering with them in regards to training and utilizing them for some of our cell therapy equipment, and being able to literally do what our mission was, which is to really get these products to patients.
I think that's in part, what makes me happy about working here. We can make a difference. We can make you go a little bit faster and easier.
A lot faster.
A lot faster.
We have many challenges facing us. I mean, we've talked some about how we scale this out, how we make it affordable.
That's our job, that's our mission. We'll drive out the cost. We'll make these things easier to manufacture.
And I think Cytiva has, the best positioning to be able to make that happen.
Being able to spend my working life in helping an industry which effectively is saving lives every day, I have hard seeing a better place to be.